In this video, we're going to go over how to set up your lighting equipment. So if you want to control your lights in your facility with the iPonic 614, you want to make sure that your equipment is properly selected using the equipment selection screen. And the way you do that is you just go ahead and hit OK from the home screen, go into System Setup, Equipment Setup, which is number 1, and then you can go into Quick Setup. And you'll see that our lights have been selected, so the iPonic is actually controlling it. If you didn't want it to control them, you would just uncheck the box, but we do want it to control them, so we're just going to go ahead and put a check mark back in that. And lights are by default set on output number 1. Now we can go back, and you'll also notice that there's an advanced setting. So if you go into advanced, this will actually let you put the lights on a different output or multiple outputs if you wanted to. So like we could go down to CO2 and go ahead and hit OK. And now in here we'll have the option for initial settings at the top. And then there's an option to set the type. Now you can see right now it's on CO2. But if I wanted to change it, I would just highlight light and go ahead and hit OK. And now it tells you that this will delete the previous settings for CO2. So I'm going to say OK because that's what I want to do. And now it's switched to light. So if we go back, we'll see initial settings for light, go back one more screen, equipment settings, and go back once more. And now I can see that both 1 and 2 are set up to be used as lights. Now, your light output is normally set to output number 1, but you can change it in this way. Because the lights generally require a much stronger current than what the controller can handle, you're going to want to plug your light ballast into a trigger box, which will then be powered by another source. Then you'll go ahead and plug your trigger cable from the trigger box into outlet number 1 of the iPonic 614 or any of the other outlets if you've changed it. So like let's say I wanted it on number 2 and I actually wanted to go back up to the top and change this to CO2. So I'm going to go back into the light and I'm going to do the same thing, initial settings, go to set type, and we're going to go ahead and go down the list here and change it to CO2. And that'll say we're going to delete the settings, and there we go. We are back on CO2, and now you can see CO2 says number 1, light is set as number 2. We can back out of here, and it'll ask you again if you want to save the changes. Say OK. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit home to get back to my home screen. And now you can see the changes that have taken effect. CO2 is right here on output number 1, and light is on output number 2.